train rattled gently along the countryside, cutting through fields that stretched endlessly under a soft golden sky. Inside, laughter and conversations filled the carriage. Among them sat a young man, 24 years old, his face pressed against the window like an excited child. "Dad, look! The trees are moving backward," he shouted with delight. People turned and smiled politely, but a young couple sitting nearby exchanged glances, half amused, half judgmental. The boy's behavior was unusual for his age. Moments later, he exclaimed again, "Dad, the clouds, they're running with us." The couple chuckled softly, shaking their heads. The woman whispered, "He's grown up, but he acts like a kid." The man leaned closer to the boy's father and said quietly, "Sir, you should really take your son to a doctor." The old man smiled. He looked at his son, the same son who had once lived in a world of endless darkness, and said gently, "We just did. He was blind from birth. He got his eyes today." Silence filled the train. The couple froze, shame coloring their faces. The woman looked away. The man lowered his head. But the boy, oblivious to their discomfort, continued watching the world rush past the window with pure joy. He whispered softly, almost to himself, "So this is what sunlight looks like." For 24 years, that boy Arnav had lived in darkness. He had never seen the color of his mother's sari, never seen his father's smile, never seen the difference between night and day. But he had imagined everything. His father's voice was the shape of strength, his mother's laughter the color of warmth. He used to say, "When I finally see, I'll spend a whole day just watching the sky." Arnav was born into poverty. His father a small-time mechanic, his mother a homemaker who sold handmade crafts. They couldn't afford the treatments he needed, but they refused to give up. His father often skipped meals to save money for hospital visits. His mother spent nights weaving mats by candlelight. Every doctor's appointment meant another glimmer of hope, and sometimes another heartbreak. Arnav grew up learning to feel the world instead of seeing it. He learned to navigate by sound, to sense people by their footsteps, and to dream with his heart instead of his eyes. But deep down, he always told himself one thing: even if I can't see the world, I'll still make it beautiful for others. He learned music, and soon he was known across the town for playing the flute so beautifully that even birds would stop to listen. He had never seen the sky, but when he played, you could hear the color of it. Then came the call. A hospital in the city had found a match. A young man, an artist, had lost his life in an accident, but his eyes were still alive, waiting to give someone else a second chance. The surgery was long, the risk was high, but for the first time, Arnav didn't care about the odds. He told his father before going under anesthesia, "If I wake up and see your face, Dad, it'll be worth everything." When he opened his eyes after the operation, light poured in. He couldn't stop crying. His first words were simple but full of wonder. "So, this is what you look like, Dad." His father laughed and sobbed at the same time. For 24 years, Arnav had heard that laugh. Now, he could finally see it. The journey back home was supposed to be quiet, but for Arnav, it was like a festival. Every second was magic. Every leaf, every bird, every color felt like a miracle. To him, the trees weren't just trees. They were dancers moving gracefully with the wind. The clouds weren't just clouds. They were old friends, finally showing their faces. When he said, "The clouds are running with us," he wasn't being childish. He was just living for the first time. And while the world around him judged his excitement, he didn't care, because for the first time in his life, he was seeing it. That evening, when the train stopped at their town, Arnav stepped down slowly, feeling the soil under his feet. He looked up at the sunset, a sight he had only imagined in his mind before. It wasn't just orange or red, it was everything. He turned to his father and said softly, "I thought I was blind for 24 years. But the truth is, so many people can see, yet they never really look." His father smiled. "Maybe God gave you darkness first, so you'd understand the value of light better than anyone else." Arnav nodded. He realized that seeing the world wasn't just about eyes, it was about perspective. Some people have perfect vision, but live blind to beauty, to gratitude, to wonder. And some, like him, see miracles in every passing second. We judge too quickly, laugh too easily, and forget that everyone is fighting battles we can't see. Some people are blind, not because they can't see, but because they don't appreciate what they already have. Arnav's first day of sight wasn't just about his eyes opening. It was about his heart awakening. And maybe that's what we all need, to see the world again, not with our eyes, but with gratitude.